Hi everyone and welcome back to my driveway. I'm Logan and this is Watch Me Work. Today what we're going to be doing is something a little different. I thought today maybe I would do a little bit of a tool review. This is a tool that I've seen other reviews for. This is the DeWalt 20V inflator. I don't know, it's DC something or another. It doesn't really matter the model number. You can look it up. You've probably already been looking for it if you're even watching reviews. Now, I saw some other reviews and the reason I wanted to do this myself is actually, it's twofold. One, the other reviewer said, oh, you have to read the manual before you use this thing, like, oh, it's so complicated to understand. But as you can see, you turn it on and it has a pressure setting, like a dial, has a gauge. I think this is actually for the speed. I could read the instructions, it doesn't really matter. It's going to inflate the tires or it's not. It has a little flashlight button. You can maybe see that on my hand there. There's a little flashlight kind of built into the handle. And one thing I wanted to cover was the other reviewer was complaining because there's this low pressure hose that's used for inflating rafts and air mattresses and whatnot. And he was complaining that like there's an attachment here that you can put on for smaller ends. He was complaining, he's like, oh, this hose, it's always dangling around, it doesn't make any sense, I would suggest just taking this off. The truth is, he's kind of an idiot because there's a clip on the bottom, and yeah, so that's not actually a problem. Another reason why I wanted to cover this review myself was all the other reviewers seemed to be using like really small batteries. They were using the basic like 1 amp hour that you get, and it was taking a long time to inflate their tires, so I'm going to use it with a 5. And we're gonna see if that makes a difference. So the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna deflate the tire. Right now I'm at my street pressure-ish, which is around 25 psi or so. And I'm gonna use this easy deflator to do it because it's a lot faster. Now I'm not gonna cover how to use this tool because that's something for a whole different day, but these are well-known tools in the off-road community. So if you're an off-roader watching this video, you're like, oh yeah, I know that tool. Because these can deflate your tires a lot faster than the standard. I'm going to take it down pretty much 0, which is lower than I go off-road, but I'll take it down right around the bottom here, which I think is actually supposed to be 5. Now I don't usually run 5 psi, only maybe if I'm running the hardest trails, like it'd have to be pretty difficult for me to want to run 5 psi. My vehicle's really light. It's for those of you who haven't seen my other videos, this is a Suzuki Jimny from Japan, and it's the K car model, the mini car model, so it only weighs like 2,400 pounds or so. Anyway, that's about as accurate as I think I'm going to get, down to 5. I don't know if you can see the gauge there, but we're pretty much at the bottom, right where the mark is for 5. So put the valve stem back in here and we'll take this tool off. And we'll turn on the DeWalt and we'll see how long it takes. I'll set my phone up as a timer right next to it so you can see that I'm not cheating. I actually have not used this tool before myself, so you're learning as I am learning. Pretty easy to use though. It's got a little thread on piece here, and we'll just thread that on. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll turn this guy on. I'm gonna set it to, you know what, I'll set it to 25 psi. So I don't know if you can see there. That just says 25. And then it's got something on the gauge there. I think that's, I'm guessing it's an estimate of how long it thinks it's going to take to pump this thing up. Unless this is the current pressure of 5 psi in the tire. I don't know. Maybe that guy was right. Maybe I should read the instructions. Maybe I am an idiot. So just let me set up my get my phone here going. We will set up a little stopwatch here. Hopefully you'll be able to see this. So I'm going to push the go button at the same time as I press this, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so that's pretty good actually, 4.5 minutes I would say. We'll round it to 4.5. There's a couple things to keep in mind here. The first being that I only went to 25 psi. Most street cars run more than 25 psi. They're usually at least 30. I'd say, for example, my other car, it runs 40 psi in the tires, but it's like a fuel efficiency thing. But on the opposite end of that, this is also a larger tire than you would see on a car. It's a super swamper. It's an Interco tire. It's a 32-inch mud tire, so it's not a big tire as far as off-road tires go, but it's definitely bigger than a car tire would be. So I would say, you know, we'll just estimate that you'll probably take about 5 minutes to fill up a tire, but that's really good. I'm definitely going to be making use of this thing on my next off-road trip. So I'm really happy with it. One thing that I noticed, and like I said before, maybe I should have read the directions instead of just laughing at that other guy. But so what this is, you've got your pressure here that it currently reads through the line, and then this is a completion gauge. So as it's inflating, this number goes up obviously, but also so does the completion gauge to get to whatever you set it to. In this case, there's a wasp flying around the microphone of my camera. I don't know if you can hear that. You probably can. He's flying right next to me right now. He's landed on it. Okay, so yeah, so I got a wasp. Anyway, we'll carry on. Hopefully that doesn't fuck the video up too badly. I should be able to just unhook this now. But I'm really happy with this thing. I think it works really well. It's definitely nice that you can just chuck a battery in it and bring it with you. I don't know how much battery you consumed on the one tire. Probably essentially none. Let's have a look and see. Yeah, so battery still reads as full. So that's really great. I'll be able to just charge a battery before I go on my next off-road trip, and definitely be bringing this guy with me. See if I can wind this cord up here. The cord is pretty easy to wind up. I'll show you this. There's a track on this. So it starts here. It goes up over the top. There's the first clip, and then you go around. This thing here now, this is kind of turned around on me. I don't know why that's happened, but we'll flip that around. The key thing is on the bottom here. You'll see it only goes, there's only one way to put it. There's not two tracks on the bottom. So it really does force you to wind the cable nicely. Now one thing I did notice when I unboxed this as well, and I want to just show you this right quick. In here, this is where your 12 volt, that wasp loves my camera. Anyway, so there's this 12 volt cable here, and when you put this back in, you have to be really careful to make sure everything squishes in nicely, because otherwise this door won't close. So if you're one of those people like me who can never get the tent back in the bag, you might have an issue with this guy. But other than that, I am super pleased with this thing. Just first impressions, you're seeing them as I am. I would recommend it. So if you enjoyed this video, feel free to throw me a like. You can subscribe to my channel, but I'm not going to force you to. So have a good one and enjoy your tool if you go buy it like I did.